10 years ago, I hit upload on the very first blast processing video. Back then, I was working my first office job and planning the next stage of my life. My first attempt at a YouTube channel a couple of years earlier had been called The Game Room. It was mostly just me, a camcorder, and a DIY green screen made from cardboard blue-tacked to the wall. It was fun, but filming solo while being on camera sometimes made everything feel like a chore. So when I started blast processing in 2015, I knew I wanted a different approach. Shorter videos, more focus on animation and style, and less time fussing with camera angles and lighting. Over the years, that style's evolved, just like YouTube itself. That reflection made me think back to where it all began, how I first got into video games, and I've traced it all back to one pivotal year, 1992. 1992 was a special year for my family. My father accepted an offer to teach in England for the year, so we would be living in Dorset for 12 months. At 5 years old, it was my first time overseas, and my first time on a plane. At this stage, I didn't really know anything about video games, beyond that they existed. They weren't really a thing in our household. Nevertheless, my parents knew that the plane ride would be incredibly tedious for all of us, but especially for me. Flying from Australia to the UK is brutal, even by today's standards. But back then, without smartphones or ebooks, it felt endless. And that's how I ended up with my very first gaming device. Something simple, plastic, and life-changing. As you've probably guessed from other videos on the channel, I am a huge TMNT fan, and have been since I was a kid. To help make the flight a bit more bearable, my parents picked up my very first video game, a TMNT LCD handheld. My parents actually purchased this in 1991, a while before we were due to leave. This led to weeks of anticipation on my end. I couldn't wait to get on the plane and play it. And play it I did, for most of the flight. Sure, part of it was my Turtles obsession, but the game also kept me busy with plenty of depth for an LCD handheld. The goal was to rescue April from the shredder, and you had a few different ways to do it. One mode had you swimming through water to find the key to her tube. Others were more intense. You had to blow it open using bombs. You destroy mouses and save April. Everything from the cartoon shrunk down into the palm of your hand. For a 5-year-old TMNT fan, it felt like a dream come true. It had a bright green shell and bold artwork around the buttons, pure early 90s energy, and totally irresistible to a 5-year-old. This simple LCD handheld started everything for me. I still have it in the cupboard somewhere. One day, I'll pull it out and restore it to its former glory. For now, it stays tucked away in a box of memories, a small plastic time machine that reminds me where this whole gaming journey began. While we were living in England, my parents used the school holidays to travel. France, Scotland, Ireland, and beyond. I was incredibly lucky to have those experiences at such a young age. It was during these travels that I discovered Asterix, who quickly became one of my all-time favourite characters. I devoured Asterix comics while we were in England. So imagine my excitement when, during a ferry ride across the English Channel, I spotted an Asterix arcade cabinet tucked away in the corner of the ship. Released by Konami in 1992, it was brand new at the time, and a perfect example of their mastery of the beat-em-up genre. Big sprites, bold colours, and fantastic animation really brought the comics to life in a way that I'd never experienced before. I didn't actually get to play it much at the time. It wasn't a long voyage across the channel. Despite this, the opening stage has been seared into my memory. You leave the village with Obelix and Dogmatics, push through the forest, take down waves of Romans, and finally face off against a squad of Legionnaires in turtle formation. It was unforgettable. Having had the chance to play it many years later, it's right up there with Konami's best. Games like TMNT and Bucky O'Hare. But no matter how many times I play it now, it'll always carry that little spark of magic from that first encounter on the ferry. With my newfound obsession came the need to soak up everything I could about video games. I played on a friend's Amiga, scanned store shelves for anything game-related, and, most importantly, discovered the world of gaming magazines. The one that really set me on the path of no return was the very first issue of Mean Machine's Sega, released in late 1992. The magazine had a dry, British sense of humour and was packed with screenshots of incredible games I'd never seen before. But the real treasure was the free VHS tape, packed with preview footage of upcoming Sega games. A rare and magical thing back then. The big one was Sonic the Hedgehog 2. It appeared 3 times on the tape, more than any other game they showed. Even the VHS cover had Sonic front and centre, making it clear who the star attraction was. I was absolutely floored by Sonic 2. The speed with which everything flew by was mesmerising, and the music stuck in my head immediately. It was clear to me that this was a game I needed to play. What I didn't know then was that the footage actually came from a late-stage prototype. Some bosses were missing, and a few levels were laid out differently. I found this out when I got to play the game for myself at a friend's house a year later, but I'd watched the VHS so many times by then that the finished game almost felt wrong. Like someone had changed a story I thought I already knew by heart. I credit this VHS for starting my ongoing love of the Sonic franchise, as well as opening my eyes to the endless variety of video games out there. That tape is still one of my prized possessions. I had it converted to DVD years ago, but the original VHS still sits proudly on my shelf, a symbol of where my Sonic obsession really began. Looking back, it's clear that my love of gaming was shaped by my experiences in 1992. Over the years, my tastes have evolved. I never thought I'd love business sims like F1 Manager, yet here we are. But all 3 games I talked about today still hold a special place in my heart. Blast processing is an outlet for me to discuss this hobby and extend my own knowledge and understanding of it. From the bite-sized videos at the start of the channel's life, to the long-form videos I've been producing over the last 18 months, it continues to be a project that I enjoy and am excited to work on. I've been lucky to receive incredible support over the years. A few shout-outs that jump to mind. Larry Bundy Jr., who was leaving comments when my videos were lucky to crack 30 views. Dan from Slope's Game Room, a tremendous support and sounding board. Pete from On a Retro Tip, just a good sort all round. Maddie from Stoked, a legend who can do a very good Roger Moore impression, if you ask nicely. There are many, many more with whom I've enjoyed chatting and working with over the past decade. And of course, thanks to everyone who's watched and commented over the years. Stalwarts like Dark Mubar, Barry Allen the Flash, and especially Bizarro Man 69. Keep those dad jokes coming, my friend. If you're new to the channel, here are a few videos from the archives that you might enjoy. A deep dive into the TMSS, the quirky anti-piracy system built into the original Mega Drive. The Ghostbusters review trilogy I filmed with some friends, complete with props, goofy special effects, and some truly top-tier acting. My giant 007 retrospective, the best Bond game since GoldenEye. Probably the video I spent the longest time on, and one I'm still very proud of. And there's plenty more to come. Some videos I've wanted to make for years, like a love letter to Max Payne 2, a mini documentary on the original Primal Rage, a retrospective about one of my favourite racing games on the Nintendo 64, Top Gear Rally, and much, much more. Thanks again for watching, and here's to another decade of blast processing.